Okay, welcome back. It's the Family and Values, and you're very much welcome to the show. If you're just tuning in, this morning we are looking at easy to talk to. Is there going to be any cause for alarm? When someone says, um, Raphael is easy to talk to, you can always, you know what I mean now. It's easy to talk to. In what aspect are we looking at this? From what angle? We're looking at it from all, we're going to be exploring all available, areas where we can actually um, use this word. Joy is easy to talk to. Is it in the area of making decisions, area of seeking for help, area of when it comes to caring, when it comes to someone is already standing by, but before she comes in, I want us to understand why we're discussing this. Sometimes the fact that some people are easy to access or to come to, many are taking advantage of them, taking advantage in the areas that it will now become an entitlement. If the person is not attending to them, it's like the person has done something previous, something that is not good enough. Let's go for our commercial and we will continue this discussion. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay. It's a beautiful time for us to talk. Beautiful time for us to talk. So Joy, this morning, I guess is joining us very soon from Port Harcourt as we'll be discussing this topic. Easy to talk to. Any cause for alarm? Do you think there will be a cause for alarm or there should be a cause for alarm when someone tells you you are easy to talk to? This morning, Marvelous Uwagugu is joining us. She is an HR person and she's joining us from Port Harcourt this morning. So it's all about the young ones. Hello, Mavi, how are you? See African Queen. See my Oroyo baby, how are you? How are you?
You know why I'm staring at you, right? You know why I'm staring at you. You know I'm not talking to you. Oh my God. All right. So we'll settle our differences after the shoot. Don't worry. Good to see you. You look beautiful, elegant as usual. Thank you for joining us for the show this time.
Okay, Mavi. This your look, self. Don't shut my mouth. I don't know where I feel start from now. How is Port Harcourt first? Let me ask you, how is Port Harcourt? How is your family? How are they doing over there? Okay, now someone approached you and said, Vivian is easy to talk to, but Mavi, I will have to do a lot of convincing to get her down and talk to her. When someone tells you, approach you and tell you someone is easy to talk to, what comes through your mind?
Easy to speak with or speak to, it becomes, for me, I think it's a gift. Yes, it's a blessing for people to want to speak to you, share their problems with you, share their challenges and all of that. So, yeah, it's a gift.
I said is a gift, but when you look at it from the kind of society we are in, people will say, "Oh, she's vulnerable. She doesn't have restrictions. Like you could just talk to her." And do you think there should be cause for alarm? It's such a person, Yes, it's a gift, but when you have people saying, "Oh, this person very easy to approach, very easy," is it from the person's state of vulnerability or from the perception the world or the society is looking at that individual?
Yeah. Looking at the society where we fall into right now, I think most people would want to misuse the opportunity. Most people would want to, you know, shift it from what it's supposed to be to what it is not, right? Especially when you are always available, right? Once you're always available, it just tells people that, oh, some people rather, it just tells some people that, you know what, Mav is a go-to person, you can always go to her. And before you know what's happening, they start to misuse it. You get to see that there are no boundaries, there's no boundary limitation to it, disrespect comes in and all of that. So sometimes I don't blame people that are strict or very disciplined set of people, because when you have a conversation with this set of people, they will share their personal experiences with you, letting you know that, oh, they used to be this kind of person, or they used to be this set of people. But then human beings will always be human beings, irrespective of the gender, age, and whatsoever he or she is, right? So yes, like you said earlier, disrespect is, you can be disrespected very easily if not being quoted very well. So yes, I agree with that. It could be a gift, and also it could be a lot, especially when it comes to emotional damage. A lot of people might damage your mindset emotionally when you're too available for them. Yes.
You talk about emotional damage. I look at a situation whereby someone comes in and decides to take the advantage of the fact that you have been kind at one time or the other, and not understanding the state at which you are presently, and now decide to say, I have come again, you know, the way you helped me the other time, and now I need you to do one or two things for me, but I will need some financial assistance. And you're like, I'm sorry, right now things are really hard for me, and blah, 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 blah. And the person is like, why are you doing like this now? You know, you are the only one I can reach out to. And the person is, you know, it's slightly difficult to understand or feel the shoes that you are wearing right now and how pitchy it is. How do you think such a person can really get out of that situation? Because the person who is coming to him or her, it's suddenly difficult to understand that he or she is going through this situation because of the current state he or she is, and is not believing. What should such a person do, or how should he or she handle it?
I saved you word. Stop, right? So if I've been doing it for you constantly or consistently, and this one time I am not available to help, you should understand it. I mean, you should take my word for my word, because before now, I always come through for you. I had a similar scenario that happened last month. So there's this friend, she's a divorcee. She was always coming to me for assistance. And I, by the grace of God, I always come through for her. Up until last month, she came in and she spoke to me about her challenges. And I told her, because that was the truth, that right now, this time is not a good time for me, because I have a lot going on with me personally and all of that. She didn't take it lightly at first, but I'm sure she went back home. She thought about it. Oh, Marv has always been there for me. So for this one time she's saying no, I'm sure her no is her no. Then she reached out to me later and said, oh, thank you so much. Because before then she started saying a lot, which I understood where she was coming from, going challenges already. So I just kept, after a while she came back and we had a decent and beautiful conversation around it. So yes, if I've been coming through for you and this one time I don't come through, you should understand that there's something there, right? It's not willingly. It's just the challenges around my circumstances. Yeah. So that's it, man. Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes people pretend to have an open mind towards certain things, even when you know that this person is not open. Just like the situation you cited, sometimes people take advantage of one's openness. They know that when I approach this person will always answer me. So even when they are pretending to be, they still come to you because they know you would give them that listening ear. Now, how do you know when one is pretending to be open to you, even when the person is not open? And what's the role of active listening in all of this?
But if at the end of the day you don't believe it, it's on you, right? It is already sad that I cannot even read your mind as a human being. I can't even tell what my next move will be, right? So if I'm being open to you and you're being pretentious about the fact that maybe you've understood or you understand where I'm coming from, it's on you. I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have the power to undo whatever thing that is running into your head right now. So yes, the fact that I've shared, I've sincerely shared my heart or poured my heart to you and let you know that at this point in time I cannot help you. Then you go as far as being pretentious about it. Then it's on you.
If you like, carry the observation, they carry them up and down. It's time for us to take our word of Maple. Marvin, you know this is how we roll here. So, and I will be coming in with our studio guests as much as you. So please don't stand up from that seat. Just keep on, take the bottle of water or make a coffee for yourself. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Let's take our word of Maple. Still talking and discussing this morning, and we're looking at easy to talk to. Any cause or alarm when someone is, tagged, or someone says is easy, she's easy to talk to, easy to approach. And we have our guests also here. I have Abatunde Odubamwo. He's always smiling. He's a media person as much as possible, and he's an Efikwamo Baba Wole Soyinka Lele. So it's so good to have you. Welcome. Okay, had it been like had Ray-Ban, I get them. If not, I for collect this rep. So now, Babs, as Marvelous is still there in Port Harcourt, I'm going to be throwing the same question to you, and I know you're going to give me your different understanding. So, Marvelous, so please stay tuned to stay on the line. Can too much openness, we're coming to family now, can too much openness in the family be a red flag? Can it generate a red flag? Too much openness. If I'm too open in my family, can it? You know what I mean. So I don't need to explain. You are both knowledgeable. So can it create a red flag in the family when you are too open?
Okay, so I stumbled on the quote before coming on.
Yes.
On set, and the quote says, "Some take their time to talk to me, while some talk to me in their free time." Then the difference. Okay, so when it comes to actually being open in terms of conversation, either in family and social circles, it's very important to actually learn the difference between those who are always willing to learn the listening here, who will not criticize you. I mean, there's some family members, brothers, sisters, who the moment you start, the first word you say, they are giving it to you back to back. All right, and some who would take time to listen to you. However, they might be, maybe they might criticize you when they say that probably what you did in terms of what you told them is wrong. However, they will still actually say it in love, correcting in love. Okay, so too much openness, it's actually relative. Okay, who are you talking to doesn't matter.
In the family.
In the family, how important is the person? Some, even in family, envy, strife, is normal. Because family is just a bigger picture of what the society is. As a matter of fact, the society, the family that we actually come from individually, is a unit of what we now go out to portray in society. So society and family, they are more or less interlinked. So whatever we see out there is also what is what is actually applicable, even right in family. So yeah, too much openness or whatever information you're giving out to the person, your siblings or your spouse and all that. How receptive is the person? How empathetic is the person? and I hope the person will not actually take it as a tool to
It
actually
will be used against you, Joy.
Okay, so how do we create a safe environment where everybody's heard? Because sometimes, just like you said, we could use it as a tool, and there are people that want to talk, but nobody's hearing them, especially the kids, especially the teenagers around the home. So how do we create that safe environment where everybody is being heard? Even the ones that are not talking, but they are being heard.
Again, I think this actually goes to parents and child relationship. You know, how close is
Relationship,
the
the
relationship,
bond.
the bond, right? Some parents just give birth to. I was discussing with a friend of mine. We now have more mothers, you know, like MUR than mothers.
Than mothers,
All right.
yeah.
Yoruba will call mother Iya, you know, while the other aspect of it, Iya. All right. So people who actually just carry their children inside in their womb, and once the child comes out, they don't have any relationship whatsoever. So such a child will not easily warm up to them. But talk about a child who can easily, even if I have a friend, she's not married now, but the guy asks her out, once she speaks to her mother, they're in two different states. When she's with her mother, she will tell her mother this and that and provide the person and all that. So how close, how the parental bond, you can't just begin to strike a conversation with someone that you don't have
a bond with. Yeah, that's true.
So basically that actually has to be stated.
That's true.
You know, now, Marvelous, my question again. Can too much openness be a red flag in the family? Too much openness in the family, can it be a red flag? Thank God you are home with your family. Can too much openness in the family be a red flag?
Well, you know, if you don't curtail boundaries, it will affect you so well. So you should learn or know where to draw the line when giving information. It goes beyond the family, even out there, society, friends, and all of that. Because when you speak too much, there comes a time in life where you go and jam talk, like we always say. We you say you jam talk. You give informations you are not supposed to give, right? So yes, too much information. In fact, it's a big red flag for me. Know when to draw the line. Know when to say, okay, I think this part I have to stop here. Learn boundaries. Once you learn boundaries in life, I think you've solved 50% of all your problems. So yes, ma'am.
So that you go and enjoy your time with family. How do you now recognize manipulation or gaslighting in friendship? Manipulation and gaslighting in friendship. How do you recognize this?
Not intentionally or not outrightly, trying to either speaking to you in a very low tone. Some people say bedroom voice, or they are trying to, start crying over a very minute issue. Why? And we both know if we sit and call a third party and analyze whatever thing that went wrong with both of us, it is crystal clear. In fact, we don't even need a third party, right? So once he or she starts bringing up these attributes or characters, I just understand that, oh, you're a manipulating person and you don't deserve to be my friend, else you stress me mentally. And once friendship starts stressing you mentally, it means that you start being cautious of the genuine people around you, which is not healthy, all because of one particular person. So yeah.
It's so good to have you.
Thank
I
you,
wish you the
ma'am.
very best of the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. And when you get to Lagos, we need to see. Okay? Have a lovely weekend. Bye for now.
Okay, so I want to ask now. We live in a world where there's a lot of assumptions. People assume a lot of things. Now, what's the danger of assuming somebody is okay just by smiling? You know, you could meet me in the morning and I'm smiling and I'm like, oh, I'm fine. What is the danger of just assuming that joy is okay by smiling simply because I'm smiling at you? What's the danger in that?
Okay, that's a very good question. Again, I think there's this misnomer, that is flying around, and of course, many of us have actually, tried to accept it, as a fact. Yeah, but in actual fact, it's not actually true. In that we live, the world has become a global village. In actual fact, the world is not a global village.
Sure.
The phone, our smartphones that we use and devices have actually, divided people more than ever. It was. I recall growing up on Lagos Island in those days. I grew up in a close-knit family where, everything, one family can go and meet the other family and all that, and it's one big, big family circle. But now it's no longer, the same. So, but back to your question, man. It's not. It's the gap, is widening by the second, not even by the day any longer. It's widening by the second. So, however, that's why there's always need for. Probably because I'm a media person and communications person, I always advocate for constant communication. Talk about everything. As much as you can actually put trust in this person, that this person cannot actually, in quotes, snitch you, or use whatever you are being told,
As a tool
to manipulate you. I mean, it's fine. Talk about everything. There was this friend of mine that I assumed, was okay, and he just ignored me, and I was angry with him for the longest time. I even called his number at some point, only to see his obituary on Facebook that I even died a year before.
Oh my God.
So assumption is I mean, call everybody that you need to call on. I think Olu does this from time to time. Call, are you okay, and all that, because you never can tell. That person may be at critical points. Probably the person, maybe just a single word. The person might want to commit suicide, for instance, and just a single word of "I love you" or "I care about you" could just change the person's mind. The person could be maybe, one of our friends, was diagnosed with a very, very serious ailment just some months back. And this was somebody that when we go for events, he's always happy, he's always usually go for. Meanwhile, this person had been suffering this ailment 2 years before that time.
In silence, without.
He didn't even tell his family. So my assumption would be that the guy is okay,
fine,
and all that.
okay.
Meanwhile, he was actually suffering
And dying inside.
Meanwhile, maybe it's not. Maybe it will not be silence. Maybe he has not been able to actually find someone who he can actually open up to. So, and it's always critical to not to assume that, okay, this person is fine, this person just decided to ignore me, or this person is becoming proud or arrogant and all that. There's always need for conversation. And when you call someone and you see that the person is sounding abnormal, it's actually very advisable that probably if you are close to the person in the same city, you can actually
Drive
check
down
on the
and
person.
check on the person.
Okay, Babs, I want to ask this question for the benefits of parents out there. The relationship or the bond between parents and their children. Now, are there certain things children should always do when they want to communicate with their parent? You were once young too.
Okay.
Younger than this. Sometimes to strike that balance of conversation between parents and the teenagers or the youths, the young ones, will be very, very difficult. You have gone past that. How do you think younger ones should approach their parents if they want to really communicate with them?
Okay, so maybe I was fortunate growing up as a child, or maybe because I was a bit rascally.
Okay.
I grew up being expressive. All right, I could tell my mom anything and anything. I mean, back in the day where it was actually in quotes, a taboo for a child to actually
speak
talk
up.
to. I could tell her anything and anything, even if it would involve giving me a knock on the head, one sort of and all that stuff. So I grew up in a home where I could actually say things, and over time, I'm the last born of the family. Over time, even if what my elder sister could not tell my mom or my dad, she will come to meet me and say, okay, this is so and so and so. I say, okay, don't worry. As long as you're going to give me 1 or 2 spoons in your food, I would. So I created that, and even till now, there's virtually nobody that I cannot actually approach. So in this particular case, I think parents have a role to play in terms of actually creating that enabling environment. Children would naturally want to talk. The Gen Zs would. The reason why some people actually say the Gen Z has been rebellious is that some of them actually had traumatic experience growing up as children.
I love that. Tumisha said that on Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? She mentioned something similar.
Yeah. So some of them actually had, and sometimes when I see some of them talking certain, I will just laugh. And I mean, sometimes I actually address them and say, you're not. It's not an age thing. It's not a Gen Z thing. Go and check yourself. I have cousins who are actually Gen Z, like real Gen Zs, and they don't behave like the way I see some. So sometimes there's that trauma in childhood has a way of actually playing out in adulthood and all that.
If I now want to strike a communication, a dialogue as a child, how do you think, or the Gen Z, how do you think that phrase of dialogue should start? From what angle, depending on the parents? How do you think such a dialogue should come up?
No, I don't know much about. I'm not a psychologist, right? But I've actually read extensively.
I'm talking about the experience.
Yes. I've actually read extensively about these things,
Okay.
and I, of course, I've actually engaged some people. I've been privileged to actually talk to some people and all that. Is that number one? The reason why some people actually they hold up, sort of, and then it actually turns out to be more or less a rebellion, is that they have some hidden pain inside, right? You must be willing and able to actually express those things, right? Even if you involve going to therapy, talking to someone who actually genuinely cares about you, or maybe a mentor, that actually express, so that thing, because once the mind is elastic. Whatever you put in it, it actually expands it. So if the pain is still there, the person, there's no way the person will be able to actually express that genuine intent of their heart. So the person, first and foremost, if truly and truly there's any anguish of any sort, should first and foremost free themselves. Then that's to then create that enabling environment to be able to actually talk to their maybe parents, their spouses, their friends, and what have you.
Well, because of our time now, I want to say this. We have parents that have a very robust conversation with their children that sometimes an outsider would think is disrespectful. There's how you see a daughter and mother talk and you feel like, is this child not disrespecting you? Meanwhile, that's their own conversation level. Now, for such parents, how do they bring limitations so that the child does not speak beyond bounds? Because children, they will even forget that you are their mother and say something, and you as a mother will be like, did you just say that? How do you draw that limitations and still not shutting them down, making them to still open up, but still being cautious of that barrier in between?
Okay, so again, that's the place of actually having the right bond, the parental bond with a child. No matter what the age that we live in, tells us that information is not everywhere and all that. And that. The child cannot be as intelligent as the parents. Cannot be as wise as the parents, because there are certain experiences that you cannot see on ChatGPT, you can't see on Google. All right, so it's not the role of either the mother or the father to say, okay, hacking or whatever the child doing is, say, okay, I know we are quite close, but so that an outsider will not see and
would not see it as
this and this and this, and when you're growing, as much as you're growing up, you begin to realize these things, and all that. So over time, the child will grow that. In fact, it even helps the child growing up, because the child would grow faster, understand things deeply than his or her peers. And for me, I mean, I use myself as a case and study. That's what actually helped me. I told you I was very expressive. I could say anything and anything, I don't want to say some things on here now. So, but there's need for that bond to be there first and foremost. Then secondly, you then tell the child in love.
In love.
And it will help the child in growing up.
Tell the child in love. One thing I know is this. Your final word as we, word of advice to our viewers at home on this e-talk discussion, easy to talk to.
Okay, again, I think there's a particular part of the scripture.
60 seconds. I know you are very fast.
There's a particular part of scripture that says that someone who wants to have friends must show up to be friendly. I can't remember. I think in the book of Proverbs. So you have to, if you want people to come up to you, be able to talk to you easily, you must actually create that environment. That's that environment where they know they can actually talk to you. You won't snitch on them, you won't gossip on them. You have to create that environment. You have to create that. Then secondly, for the person who is the victim, in quotes, the person must, by way of actually being cautious, because we're in a situation where people trying to actually open up to people, and then they are actually maybe sexually molested or taken advantage of and all that. So the person too has to be, even if it's going to take a year, or more, find the right person.
Very much for that.
Even if it's going to take a year, find the right person and talk to. It's talking to the right person at the right time that is important. Yes, Joy is easy to be approached. Joy is easy to talk to. Are you also approachable? That's another thing you should ask yourself. Are you open to one another? Thank you for being a part of the show for a wonderful week. We appreciate you. I am Princess Joy Ayo Abu. I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend.
Smile as often as you can. You never know what will happen tomorrow. It's good to smile and approach people with the right mind and the right intention. Thank you, Babatunde Odubawo, for joining us this morning. And to everyone who has been part of Family and Values this week today, marvelous, thank you for joining us. And to everyone in the studio, thank you for being here this week. Thank you to our supervising producer, to the president of Galactic Television and our HOP. Thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate God's grace over your lives. Our viewers, we love you. Have a splendid weekend and celebrate yourself. Love yourself. Spoil yourself. And listen to damage things. But give yourself a special treat. On that note, Hilary is signing out. To see you next week. Have a splendid weekend. Bye for now.